Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis. And now, the Outriders.
How's it going, Outriders? Matt, Dan, and Zach here for your bi-monthly Star Wars Legion podcast. How's it going, gentlemen?
Going pretty good.
That was Zach.
Is this episode not special? Because the last two episodes have been very special.
You know, you gotta have some peaks and valleys so you can actually differentiate. Because if things were just awesome and special all the time, how would you know when it's awesome and special? Because when everybody's super, nobody is.
Welcome to the Valley, folks.
Yes. No, we do have, of course, a very special episode today. So we talked about it last time. We're going to be talking a little bit of a dive off again on the current state of 3D printing. Zach has been doing some fantastic research. Dan as well. Just you guys are very much 3D printing hobbyists at this point. Honestly, it's like its own little discipline, like learning to play piano or, macrame.
I mean, easily each version of 3D printing is its own hobby. And looking back, I've been doing 3D printing longer than I've been tabletop miniatures. So,
wow,
it's been a while.
Okay, all right. So you've been in it since probably the heyday then.
Because going on 5 years.
You played X-Wing before, right?
Nope.
No, you didn't. You just came in with Legion?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
Well, luckily, it's very synergistic.
Is it?
With the
Lots
hobbies.
of
Yes,
synergy.
lots of synergy.
Okay. How many barricades can we actually print up? Can we put little shark heads on the front of them or something?
Whatever you
that's
want,
really
baby.
what we want to do. But and then of course we've got a lot to talk about with the rules update in the FFG, and yeah, that's going to be, well, there's one that we really care about, and then there was all the other ones too. Yes. But before we get into that, hey Dan.
Yes, sir.
How's our Star Wars news?
Well, we have news, and again, I think it's going to be every week until Mandalorian Season 2 comes out, but there's always Mando news.
Oh, of course.
Of course, the big thing now, and I was complaining about it last episode, the Mando 2 Season 2 trailer dropped.
Yes, it did.
Oh, wow,
awesome.
has that been? It was like right after we recorded this.
Yeah, I guess so. I was like, man, that feels like it's been out for a minute. I guess it has.
Yeah.
Fortnightly.
But very exciting trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Space Wizards.
Space Wizards.
I'm a fan.
Sorcerers is how they referred to them.
Yeah.
Space
Crazy old
Racers.
sorcerers.
But yeah, just the speeder bikes just jumping off that cliff. And
so I'm sure everybody's seen that. Oh, yeah, dude, that was dope. That was super dope. That was one of my favorites. Like, let's see what those bikes can do. And we're going swooping.
Yeah, and X-Wings, escorting the Razor Quest. So, interesting. But yeah, the rumor is, though, that Seasons 3 and 4, they're going to film them simultaneously.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense since they're going to be, setting up for Season 3.
Since Pedro Pascal is basically folding up his costume and walking away.
I'm kidding. I know. There's a lot of rumors about him being,
there was
Hollywood
one rumor from one source, and I think it's pretty much been widely debunked.
It has been, because he's been promoting Season 2 quite positively, both on social media and elsewhere.
That's all I've ever seen from the guy. Like, he gets it. That was all the promotional shots they had with him. Wearing the helmet, Yeah. We know it's you, Pedro. It's good. Unless it's one of the other guys that stands in for the stunts. But
yeah, also a rumor, yes, and we alluded to that he is going to be basically voice acting Season 3 and 4. He won't be in the suit.
Oh, really?
That's what the rumor is because, supposedly the rumors for Season 2 was the suit was uncomfortable and it was difficult for him to wear.
Oh, because I thought that was kind of the big thing going into Season 2 is it's going to be more of him under there. Yeah. And they decided that, we'll just let the professionals do it, and you can just do the voice work in the scenes without the mask.
Well, again, this is entirely rumor, so grain of salt on everything.
Oh, okay.
That Pedro, of course, with the rumors that did come out, were saying that he wasn't enjoying his time in the suit. And for everyone wondering what happened with Season 1, well, he actually had other obligations, and they were already into production by the time they had cast him. So they were using stuntmen in the suit in Season 1, and he was doing mostly voiceover work, with the exception of a few scenes like the obviously helmetless scene where.
Well, it sounds like I might need to get a checkup from the doctor after taking that much salt with those rumors. So. It's not good for the arteries.
Well, yeah, because again, also a rumor. The rumor is that Disney has basically purchased a decommissioned Air Force base that they're using as a quarantined. Basically, they're going to quarantine the whole area to do all of their major recording on now.
Why not? We abandon bases all the time. Well, actually, there was that naval base that the Mythbusters used to go on to all the time during their show. Did they say which one it was?
No,
or
they didn't say.
Is this still rumor?
This is still rumor.
Oh man, when did we get into the rumor cast?
Yeah.
I swear.
And the rumor didn't even say what country it's in. So
Oh, yeah.
who knows where they're recording right now?
We're abandoning bases left and right.
Exactly.
Maybe the Russians won't take this one. Who knows? You're pursing your lips there, Zach.
But back to actual news. But we're staying on the TV front. Diego Luna had an interview with E.T. about the upcoming
The
Cassian Andor
extraterrestrial?
show. Yeah. Entertainment Tonight.
Oh, I'd rather hear about E.T.
Yeah.
He said he did state in his interview that production is going to be starting this year. But there's not a lot of year to left, so
I
I'm
wonder if
curious.
he's confused which year it is. He still thinks he thinks he's in March still or something.
But that'll be great if they can get production off the ground so they can have it ready, later in 2021. So, because I think they're just going to do Mandalorian all the way up to, with Mandalorian season 2 is going to last till December-ish, and then they'll have the 2 Marvel shows, which they've already lined up, WandaVision and.
I haven't seen the trailer yet for
You
that.
haven't seen the WandaVision
No,
trailer yet?
I keep forgetting.
No.
Somebody posted it up in the chat, and I was like, "Oh, I got to go watch that." And then it totally I just kept living my life. Apparently, is it good?
We're getting off topic, but yeah, it's a little weird.
This is now the topic.
It's a little weird, but I mean, the whole premise of WandaVision is weird. So,
It's weird, yeah. So yeah. Well, as long as she doesn't get into like the No More Mutants thing or whatnot, just have some crazy time in the 50s or whatever she's doing.
They show clips from like the 50s era sitcom and then like the 70s era sitcom. And
Oh,
then,
really?
like, a
I
more
thought it
modern
was just like
90s,
an old
yeah.
Ozzie and Harriet type thing.
No, the theory is that she's kind of in her grief with Vision dying. She's kind of creating these situations.
The butterfly
Yeah,
effect, but
basically, yeah.
for
Yeah.
sitcoms. Okay. What do you think, Zach?
I haven't seen anything about it, but that sounds dope.
Oh, okay, you haven't seen it either.
I'll
Okay,
watch
good.
it.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So yeah, with Cassian Andor getting in production supposedly later this year, and then Kenobi's production starting early next year, things are looking up.
I heard that Alan Tudyk this season for the Cassian Andor show isn't going to be spending as much time in the suit and is just going to be doing some voiceover work, basically, for the next few seasons.
I mean, in Rogue One, he was in a mocap suit.
Oh,
so-
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. Did they even... Yeah, they confirmed Alan Tudyk was going to be
Yeah,
there,
they confirmed
right?
Alan
Yeah,
Tudyk
yeah.
was gonna be on
It
there.
wouldn't
Yeah.
be the same without him.
I mean, in a mocap suit with stilts on. was
I find your answer vague and unconvincing.
And actually, the newest piece of merchandising news that was so new, I actually didn't get it onto the agenda before I printed it.
I was going to ask. I think... Is this about the lightsaber?
Oh no! What about the lightsaber?
Oh, apparently they showed a very specific lightsaber build for the High Republic.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a little visual though, so I
Yeah.
didn't think it would really work on the audio of the podcast.
I mean,
but
hey.
it's a cross between one of those Klingon daggers that the sides flip out
Yeah.
and a cross guard saber. It's really weird looking.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that it's kind of cool looking, I think. But...
little fancy and over the top, but I guess the Jedi
What?
supposedly.
The Jedi? Fancy it over the top?
Well, I guess at the time
got-
they were supposed to be over the top.
Yeah, they wear hobo robes. They're fine.
But no, the last thing I had was merchandising wise. I
Merchandising.
showed you just before the recording here. They did announce for Christmas season an animatronic The Child doll. So basically Furby crossed with the
Yeah.
Child.
Can I teach it to talk?
They didn't show much other than the little short video.
Can
they had
I
with
feed it
Can you
chicken nuggies and chalky milk?
I hope so.
Well, if it doesn't want it, I'll eat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, Zach. You can have some too.
Thanks for thinking.
Yeah.
God, I old man
We'll get
slapped
the
my knee.
crayon
I was
flavored.
laughing.
So other news, very excited. We got our dials in from
Oh, yes.
6 Up Industries. It is 6 Up. It wasn't 6 Plus. It's 6 Up. We got corrected.
Yes.
Keegan reached out and slapped us.
Yes.
In the very nicest way possible, because he's a super nice guy. But we're going to be starting to send it out. So if you guys want to get on, we'll put up another promotion hit for this. Patreon.com/Legion Outriders. Any subscription of $5 or more will guarantee you one of the dials. Legion Outrider levels get extra swag and stickers and all that kind of stuff. And of course, thanks to all of our support from you guys for doing that, keeping us going here. But yeah, and we're going to start mailing them out by the next podcast we check in. So definitely, if you want to get in on that, hit it up. Even if you're a little bit late, we'll work it out. It's fine. It's fine. But what do you think about them? Now that you've got to hold them in your hand instead of seeing pictures.
They're a lot better than I expected.
Give it a spin near the microphone. I actually really like the action on it. I think it turned out really good. Oh, yeah. You can just fidget spin your way to victory on the tabletops of Star Wars Legion.
No, they're...
For an entirely 3D printed item, I think it looks really, really well. I was a little concerned that it might be kind of chunky just because of the nature. Well, I guess we'll be talking about this in your section. The fidelity and detail has gotten way better than even when Josh was talking about it on the last time. So I'm very excited to send these out.
Yeah, I'm just impressed. I know that Keegan there have some awesome machines, but 3 colors on one print part.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Is
So
that a good thing?
A multicolor printer is awesome.
So judging by the pictures that we got when Keegan sent it, they're being printed on pressure printers. So that's pretty much the top of the line in terms of consumer printers.
Wow.
Like you can get an array of cheap printers, or you can invest.
Oh,
in
so you go either quantity or quality in this.
Yeah,
but they were able to spin out. We had like a fairly sizable order that they were able to kick out within like a couple of weeks. Designing it from the ground up, taking a few comments on it and adjusting, and then spinning it into production. And I love that they use the Arabesh numerals for the countdown part of it itself.
Yeah, so if everyone's wondering why it looks like a 10, no, it's a 6.
It's a 6. Yeah, it's an Arabesh. If you can't figure, there aren't 10 rounds in Legion. Let me split. Well, when it's binary, maybe they're screaming at you in droid.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be more information on the Facebook page. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to us there. Post a message. Send us a DM. Slide into our DMs. Whatever it is you kids do with your TikToks or whatnot. Yeah. But anyways, the real important thing I didn't hear. Hey, Dan, how long until LVO?
125 days. We're not in the double digits
yet. You need to sell the drama a little bit more. Give me your best Shatner shout out, kind of.
125 days.
Thank you. Thank you. Zach, you want to give it your own little stab there? Come on.
It ain't tomorrow. You'll get it when you get it.
Wait. I said Shatner, not FFG, But anyway, so yeah, 125 days to go there. So
yeah. I'm not panicking on my board yet. Not till we get to double digits.
Not panicking like Anakin.
Nope.
All right. So, rulings. We got a bunch of facts that LJ posted up on the Facebook that some clarifications.
Yeah, they for everyone who saw the first post, there was a second post the next day.
Yes, with apparently the one that you cared about the most.
Well, and there were a couple things added and a couple actually answers on the first post that were changed.
I didn't catch that. Okay,
yes.
so let's go and talk about what are the spicy ones on
and
there.
Of course, just to let everyone know, these FFG's official forums, there is a rules forum and there is a stickied locked post in there that FFG posts in to post rules updates. The little ones, when they want to do kind of in between the big RRG updates. So definitely, if you're into competitive Legion, definitely double check the FFG forums,
the official forums,
just to make sure you're up to date on the most
stickied locked post with all their rules updates and pictures of their cats. If not, they should do that too.
Yes, Alex Davey, if you're listening, please post pictures of your cats. All right, but yeah, they had a couple, and there were some interesting interactions they actually said about here. So, first one here is, my Luke Skywalker has saber throw equipped. Oh yes, by the way, they phrase these in like question answer format, not like.
Oh, I thought I was being quizzed all of a sudden.
No.
We could do that. What do you think the answer is here?
You're going to have to give me the answer in the form of a question.
So Luke Skywalker is saber throw equipped, and if you play Son of Skywalker, you perform the melee attack and it kills the unit that's engaged with. Can you then perform a ranged attack with saber throw?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Survey says.
Actually, it's no.
Is it no?
Is it no?
Really?
Now, it's funny. The first post actually listed this as yes. So there's confusion.
Oh,
so the update thing is no.
Schrodinger's Luke says.
Exactly. If you actually read the text of saber throw, it says, use your melee weapon, half the dice as a range attack. This attack counts as an attack action.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
You can only declare one attack action per turn. So if you declare that attack action to do the melee, although it says you can do another attack, it doesn't say you cannot do another. It says you can. Yeah. Tongue-tied. You cannot do another attack action. You're only doing one attack action.
That makes sense.
Attacks.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of wordy lawyering. I would have thought it was okay. I actually agreed with the first one on the local area of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
There was actually somebody said, "Oh, you can actually do this. This is cool." I said, "Yeah, I thought we could always do that."
Yeah.
Because I always assumed it was just
that's good that
range
there's
attack.
clarification, because that sounds like, I mean, it sounds reasonable either way, but if they give their justifications, then all right.
So the answer is no, you cannot use saber attack as a bonus attack, basically.
Well, now Luke is just completely unplayable. So.
Well, I mean, who's been playing him lately, really?
That makes me sad. I love Luke.
Though he
Remember when he won the brackets a while back?
Though he does have his pistol, and yes, you can use the pistol as a range attack afterwards. So, I mean, 2 red dice.
You still use your Luke every so often?
Occasionally.
Yeah? Who's your main commander for Rebels right now?
Still Leia. That's my girl.
Yeah? Yeah, Leia and Chewie? No? Just
Leia? Leia, maybe toss in a Sabine in there.
Oh, okay. That's Sabine, though.
Ladies.
Ladies explode and everything. I like it.
Throw some gin in there and you got a party.
Yeah. Any other real good ones in there?
Let's see. A lot of talking about hostage exchange, because apparently that thing is still a rules nightmare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll just... The summarization... During setup and range 1, nothing can touch the units with hostages.
Okay.
So they're talking about situations. Can enemy unit engaged? Do mines attack them? No, from the minefield effect.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Even though people are confused, it's not an enemy because it's not the other player controlling it. Although they're quote unquote neutral, they are still enemy. They're enemies to the units they're attacking. So
what is the ruling on that?
Ruling is no, it's an enemy effect.
Okay.
So when it detonates, it performs attack. When my detonates, perform an attack against the unit. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm misreading this. It is not an enemy effect because it's not controlled by the other player.
Okay.
So mines from the minefield condition can affect those with hostages.
Oh,
those
they
units
can.
with hostages. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
All
right.
Blamo tokens are actually handled the same way as well. It's considered a neutral effect.
Yay.
Yes, I know you love campaign. Are you going to really use him that much before Maul comes out, though?
I'm going to try, actually. I really want to get...
Because once Maul hits, I'm sure everyone's just going to drop Cad Bane for Maul.
I'm going to be the Cad Bane guy. Well, if Maul had a fancy hat,
right? He did. I mean...
Or if Cad had helmet spikes, I guess. I don't know.
Put the hat on Maul. Best of both worlds.
Is it?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Get Zach to 3D print you a hat from Maul.
There you go.
And if you move the unit equipped with a hostage into contact with a Bane token that turns out to be the Here I Am token, you can't melee a unit you can't melee a hostage unit on the first round or during setup.
Right.
So you literally put Cad Bane as close as possible without being in melee.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm just going to be over here swinging my electro gauntlet, and if you happen to walk into it...
Here's a funny one. Are all the mine condition tokens, Bane tokens, bombing run objective tokens, etc., are they removed after they detonate because they don't have a detonate keyword? And detonate keyword actually declares you remove it. Yes, you remove it.
Okay. It's perpetual explosions.
Yes. How do units with the incognito keyword interact with certain objective cards? So
wait, what units? I didn't notice anybody.
Exactly. So incognito units can't be assigned objective tokens during setup because the moment they touch an objective token, they lose incognito.
Okay, makes sense.
Now, of course, if they lose the incognito later in the game due to one of the ways you lose incognito, yes, you can then interact with the objective tokens.
That's just Chris Evans in a baseball cap.
Yes. Can incognito units earn victory tokens, playing intercept transmissions, payload key positions, and breakthrough? Only if they've lost the incognito keyword. So basically, for incognito, you don't count towards any objectives. So, K2 players, make sure you shoot something before you try and score for that turn.
Okay, that makes sense. Why are you standing on the enemy side of the line there?
So if a miniature of a large repulsor unit, like an AAT, is fully obscuring a condition token placed by minefields, so one of those generic mines, what happens if another movement moves into range 1? So the mine can't see it, but there's a unit in ranged 1. The mine doesn't detonate because it can't see it.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, because it has to have line of sight. So it's like having a wall or another piece of line of sight obscuring.
So you can use your hover vehicle to kind of screen.
Yes, but remember, everyone, it is in the rules. You cannot land on top of a condition or objective token.
But, I mean, it's such a big ship. You could probably overlap it quite a bit. I don't know. What do you say? Have you gotten to play with your... You've played with your saber takes multiple... Have you had to do a mine scenario where that's an issue?
Not yet, but that sounds like some great line of sight shenanigans. Next one.
Yeah, okay. This is we're going to keep that one in mind.
Take
Tuck that in the back of the playbook, yeah. Like, you can't see the troops. I'm underground. I can't see anything.
So when a unit that uses covert ops to infiltrate and then becomes, an operative, and then you have to nominate somebody as a commander, can that person who's now nominated as commander be a legal target for bounty? Yes. Yes, they can.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have even tried to guess on that one.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there was some thinking back and forth, like, at the beginning of deployment, they're not a commander. At the end of deployment, well, no, yes, they are eligible for the bounty keyword if they're promoted to commander.
Okay.
And then there was some description of how to use loadout, because there was apparently some confusion on that.
How do you use loadout?
Well, the confusion was each individual loadout slot unique? So, like you say, you have... for example, Hunter, and then in one slot you have Hunter and then the loadout of offensive push, and the second one you have, I can't even think of it, endurance, and I'm blanking on names. Some other one here.
Yeah.
When you replace one, you can choose anything that's a set aside, as long as it's the same type of.
Okay.
So there's some minor shenanigans you can do with this. Say you put Hunter and situational awareness. So that's 6 + 2, so that's 8. And then under Hunter you put the loadout of offensive push, which is 4. Can I then swap out my situational awareness for the offensive push?
I don't know.
According to this, yes, you can, as long as it's the same type of.
It's the same type of
upgrade.
Okay.
Now, if you have different types of upgrades, say you also have something in the equipment slot, no, you can't swap out an equipment for a training or anything like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That's quite powerful, actually.
Yeah. So, the funny thing...
I don't have anything with loadouts, so I never
don't either.
interact with it.
The funny thing I like in here is the example they actually use. Cassian Andor is equipped with Hunter, Endurance, and Environmental gear, and the set aside is Duck and Cover, Offensive Push, and Grappling Hooks. Well, environmental gear, grappling hooks, so they're the same. It says you can swap Hunter for either duck and cover or offensive push, but endurance for duck and cover or offensive push, or environmental gear for grappling hooks. But you can't swap endurance for grappling hooks. Obviously, you can't cross the.
Gotcha.
You can't cross the types there.
I thought you were sending us up for a kind of a word problem.
No.
Cassian Andor has 25 Snickers bars. If he eats 20 Snicker bars, how many? What does Cassian Andor have?
Diabetes.
Diabetes. There it is.
And let's see, we're getting towards the end here. What happens when a unit leader of Wound Threshold 2 is defeated while in a unit of Wound Threshold 1? When the mini replaces the other unit, does that unit essentially gain an additional wound? No. The unit leader is defeated and replaces another mini in the unit, and then must be assigned a wound token. So basically, it turns it into a 1 unit or 1 health unit.
Okay.
I'm really happy with that.
Is that the way you thought I was going to go?
Yeah, I mean that's the fairest way to do it.
Yeah,
honestly, the total number of wounds in the entire unit remains the same when you do that. Unless you're a tactical droid in a group of B2s. Because it's going the opposite direction and it actually hurts you.
Yeah.
So since the tactical droid is 1 and the B2s are 2 health, if you terrain scope the tactical droid, it replaces a 2 health B2.
Well,
yeah,
there you go. So don't do that.
So, yeah, I mean...
Roger.
There's other nice reasons to put the tactical droid in the B2s, but we're getting off topic there.
Yeah.
And the last one here, how does cohesion in Melee work when a unit's minis can't move through the other unit's minis? So basically, you have a Tauntaun coming into Melee with you. You can't move through a Tauntaun because it's a creature trooper. How do you get your minis to go into cohesion with Melee? Because you're supposed to surround him.
Right.
But you can't technically move through him. They say for the purposes of this Melee, fudge it. They move through him. And
that's the way I've always played it. And honestly, unless somebody said something about it, I'd continue to play it that way. Well, okay, but that's good. Fudge it.
Yeah, you can't get all your minis in Melee.
Yes,
you can.
I mean, of course there are people.
So there's I mean, we got the answer we wanted about the two HP leaders, which I think that was the biggest one in the community.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was not in the first drop of the rules, but it was added in the second.
They got to save some of the razzle dazzle for the follow-up posts.
Making me read all that? Come on.
All right, so some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, and that's all up in the Facebook page,
yes,
and like you said, in the
so
FFG forums. So.
I know there aren't any competitive events going on right now, but I mean, until LVO in 125 days. But
oh, is that how long? Okay.
But definitely, if you are in a competitive Legion again, do double check the FFG forums, the rules forum. It's in the Legion forums group. There's a Legion rules forum, and once again, there's a locked sticky thread in there that FFG will put their small rules updates on before it hits the big RRG.
Right on. Well, any last thoughts on that? Oh, by the way, hey, I saw you post up your Inferno squad.
Oh, yes.
Looking really nice, dude.
Yes. No,
very fancy.
I kind of cranked that out this weekend. So
hey, that's good, though. I mean, that's really good.
And now I've got 3 squads of generics I have to work on.
I was going to ask about that. It's like, how many more Inferno-like bros do we have?
No, I wanted to focus on the named guys because that's what most of my lists are using, the named Inferno squad right now.
Nice. I've still got a box of Stap Riders I need to build after this. Actually,
I've heard those are real fun to build according to the Facebook.
They don't look that bad. I pulled them out and was kind of looking at the instructions. Well, I mean,
apparently trying to hold them in position while the glue's drying is.
I've built Dark Eldar Raiders before, so honestly, we'll see how my hobby skills are up to the challenge. I've got a friend of mine that actually my buddy Ross that was my doubles partner at LVO last year. He's coming over to get a game later, so I'm excited. He's bringing his droids. I'm gonna have my droids. Actually, I might play Kenobi for that. I don't know.
Bring tons of Ion. Just
all the Ion.
Yep. Yeah. List complete full of Ion.
I don't think is that a rule in the game? Is that something that happens in Legion? Ion? That doesn't sound familiar.
The Ion, the Stormtrooper Ion rifle.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
The Rebel Ion.
No,
gun. No.
Droid
poppers.
No. Oh, droid
there
poppers.
We go.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Could I substitute them for some jalapeno poppers? Sounds delightful. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back for the 3D printer showdown.
You are receiving the Legion Outriders podcast. Ending the transmission now would be most unfortunate. And now, the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders, and welcome to our 3D printer showdown. The first in a 2-part series. Tonight, on a very special showdown, we're talking about resin printing, and our local experts, Zach and Dan, are here to walk us through, because I still don't know anything about 3D printing. You guys show up with really cool stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty sweet.
It's from the future.
It is from the future. Are you some sort of sorcerer? Excuse me. Yeah, we already established you sorcerers.
Sorcerers.
Okay,
Yes.
So Zach, why don't you lay down for us what it is a resin printer does,
All right, sure.
and how it applies to our little tabletop minis lifestyle?
All right, so what a resin printer essentially does, or how it works, is you have a vat of UV resin that's being cured by UV light. It's being filtered out through a screen. So it's creating a mask, and there's a build plate that dips down, cures it, goes back up, does it again, layer by layer by layer. And what this gets you is a very extremely detailed resin model.
Yeah, you brought some samples over, some of the stuff you've been printing out, and honestly, a couple of them are indistinguishable from models I know, either from like Games Workshop. I swear this one crocodile guy with the swords, I thought that was a Warhammer model for like minions. it looks really, really good. But what I picture when you say like a vat that comes down and gets cured, is that like a Dairy Queen soft serve, kind of like, and then you stick it outside for a minute?
Except it's not broken. Like
Oh,
every time you go through the drive-through.
No, that's McDonald's.
That's
Yeah.
the ice cream
If
machine.
Dairy Queen's ice cream machine broke, they'd be. What do you think they sold burgers? Come on.
So like that Dairy Queen analogy is actually really good for FDM, which is the traditional style 3D printing, at least consumer grade.
Funky dance music, FDM.
Yeah,
yes.
so the plastic
Yes.
3D printers.
Yeah.
So that's when you're thinking of, you know, plastic being heated up through a tube and an extruder moving, and
that's a different
doing
type of printer that we're going to
Yes.
talk about on the next show.
That is correct. So for resin, the print bed itself is the thing that's moving. So your vat of resin's always at the bottom, and the screen's down here. So it cures
down here, yes.
Yep,
So
yes.
below it.
below it.
So
And-
it essentially prints the model upside down.
Yes, it does it upside down, and one of the cool things about that is the print time is the big thing about that is the height of your models. So if you have a build plate that's 6 inches by 4 inches, if you want to slap on 8 miniatures on that, it's gonna have the same print time as if you're printing one,
Oh, wow.
because it's all factored by height.
Okay.
Yeah, because it starts at the bottom of the mini, which is where attach the build plate,
Uh-huh.
and then just builds layers up.
And, okay, so
And
but
it's-
the
the mini's inverted, of
lateral movement, I guess?
There is no
No, it's
lateral
only-
movement.
No,
It's
oh,
only
really?
vertical.
It's only vertical, correct? Because at
okay.
the bottom of it is, like you were saying, there's a screen there, and there's a UV light. It's an array of LEDs, and the system.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this picture to my head because, as I said, I don't know anything about this.
Please.
It does the layer and then it like puts the light on to cure it and then does the next layer, or does it do it
Actually,
while it's going?
Pretty much.
turns the lights on only where it needs to cure. So there's basically an array of LEDs on the bottom, and it only turns the LEDs on in the area that needs to cure.
Zach has a comment.
Yep. So usually your LED array, the full array lights up, and the screen is what's masking it. So let's say if we wanted to print out the letter A. On the screen, it's going to have all black for everything that's not the A, allowing the UV light to shine through and cure only the silhouette of the A.
Oh, interesting.
And then the light turns off, the build plate goes up, goes right back down, and does the A again. Just
It just builds it in layers as it goes up.
Wow. Okay. What model of printer are you personally using for resin?
So, as of last week, I was primarily using an Elegoo Mars, which is at the very entry-level consumer resin printer.
Is that the one you got started on then?
For resin printing, yes.
Okay. If somebody was to try and get into resin printing, is that still something good for them to look into?
As of right now, no, because we're in the middle of a technological generation jump,
okay.
I guess, to put it. So, like the original Elegoo Mars and the original Photon, those are the main recommended budget ones. Each one now has essentially their
The Mark
new
II
and
or-
improved.
yeah.
So whether or not you want what would now be an Elegoo Mars Pro, so as a higher resolution screen, also a mono screen. So that just means you're going to be getting crisper models, and your screen's going to last longer.
So the models you brought today for sample, and if we can, we'll probably put some up in the Facebook post to kind of show what we're talking about here. Was that used the old one, or is this the new
This
one
is
you're about to
the
tell us
old
about?
one.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's still really good, I think.
This really good quality is what the enthusiasts are now saying is poor quality. And
Okay.
the technological date, like we're talking like a year and a half ago. So
Wow.
it moves
It's a
very,
rapid
very
advancement.
quickly, where, if we were talking a year ago, we were going to say a big detriment to resin printing would be the size. You can't print terrain. It's only good for miniatures. Well, now there's like an Elegoo Saturn, which has a build plate, which you can print terrain in resin.
How big is that one?
I don't know the specifics, but it's
1 square foot, it looks like, something like that.
It's a pretty hefty and chunky, so you're going to be using up a lot of resin, but at the same time, it gets rid of the 3D printed look.
The line layers.
Yes,
you
the
see
line.
with the extrusion style. Okay. How much does like a vat of resin cost?
So 1 liter of resin is usually about $50 to $65 depending on your brand and the quality of it, and that will honestly print you out, let's just go with the spitball of about 60 minis.
Okay,
if
so
not
like
more.
60 Legion minis or
Yes.
something like that for just kind of a size reference. Dan, do you use a resin or do you just?
No. I'm currently all the extrusion FDM.
Oh,
stuff
okay. So
online,
we'll talk to you on the next episode. You can go. You can
yeah,
switch
I am
off for a
familiar
while,
with it.
but-
Not only have I've worked and talked with Zach about it. I
Yeah.
also have a few other friends that do have them who have been able to do other production work for me when I need to
Well,
when I need
that's
something
awesome.
resin printed. So I'm familiar with the process. I just don't personally own one.
Okay, I'm sure we'll probably be remedy. So what's the new one that you've got?
So I'm waiting for it to be shipped, a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K. So what it is it's the same build factor, just
It's not one of the Elk Goos or whatever.
Nope.
Okay.
So Frozen, like all the machines, they're all Chinese clones of each other. They really
okay.
are. What I like about Frozen is
The songs.
Yes, love it. But the screen is a 4K, so going from what you guys
wow.
are seeing right now, which the new lineups of like Elagoon Photon for the size are 2Ks. So
Okay.
getting a huge increase in definition. The mono screen is an upgrade, which all the new generations have. And what that did in the industry was they used to use old cell phone screens, which would display all colors. So it can block out UV light, just not efficiently.
Okay, I've heard of printers that use that kind of stuff, and I thought it sounded super sketchy, but I guess that was the standard.
It was a standard, and
wow.
now everything's gone ahead, and there are now more efficient LED arrays as well. So it's a good time now to be looking. If you are interested in it, just poke your head around, do some research. Just don't get a first generation like Elagoon Mars or the original Photons. They're just dated, and the components inside are probably going to be dying sooner rather than later, because there are a lot more consumables with resin printers than with your FDM printers.
Wearable parts and whatnot.
Yeah,
Okay.
like-
How much would I be looking to spend if I want to get one of the newer generations?
Anywhere from low 200s.
Oh.
I mean, if you want like a big old Elagoon Saturn, I think they're retail 500.
Wow. Okay, that's much cheaper than I was thinking.
They're not that expensive.
Huh. All right. Well, for a hobby, that's actually not too bad of a price of entry. But okay, so what do you use your resin printing for? You've got some models that you printed out, kind of an assortment of different things, and you've mentioned that there's communities and resources for people doing this stuff. What can you tell us about that?
So I guess the first question, like, I got into resin print because I was a DM for D&D.
Oh, sure.
And
Okay. Yeah.
After trying a lot of FDM printers for miniatures, FDMs are great. It's just that's not a good use case for them. And that kind of jump-started me into looking more into, modeling and everything. So I started putting my players' heads on miniatures for them. So we would
Not
scan it with
literally
an
their
iPhone.
heads. Wait. Oh, literally their heads.
Yeah.
Okay. Representations of their
Representation.
heads. Okay.
So I'd use an iPhone to scan their face.
No kidding.
Clean up the STL file, put it on their little archer model or their warrior, and bring it to the table for them.
I wish you were my DM.
We can work some out.
Hey, all right.
I'm DMing. You can get models, but I'm not DMing. Not enough time. Baby on the way.
You're used to it by now. You got other kids. It's fine.
So
No sleep.
I don't know if this is a tangent. What are some of the downsides of resin printing
So
versus FDM? Or
one of the things that you need to include in your costs is all your PPE, so your personal protective equipment, because
Is it very toxic?
you do not want resin on really anything that you like your hands, your skin,
So
your
yourself,
loved
yeah,
ones,
hopefully.
your animals, things like that. So some resins definitely smell a lot more. For me, I have disposable gloves. I have a respirator. I wear iPro as well.
Oh, okay.
With FDM, I did not need to have all that. So when you're operating this, you really do need to have a nice, well-ventilated area. Like, this is not something that you put in your dorm room and, I'm going to make all these figures and end up winding up with some headache or something. I don't know the negatives.
You keep everything in your garage, right? Because when I came over to play that game, you had all your printers in your garage actually.
Yep, my little workshop down there.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
whenever it's time to actually clean up and do anything regarding resin. So to jump off from this, resin prints need to be cleaned and cured because you're going from essentially liquid resin and you're
from goop to
goop to actual nice, hard, somewhat brittle resin. Typically, you're going to use iso alcohol, whatever you can find nowadays, because of coronavirus. Like, coronavirus hit resin hard.
Really?
PPE,
Oh, because people did 3D printing stuff like crazy for that. Yeah.
It was kind of rough, so I actually use acetone now to clean off my prints. So definitely want a respirator and everything for that.
So there's a lot of post-processing involved with resin then.
There is, but when you
got to go to the dark room and slosh some chemicals around.
That is kind of what happens. Like I open up my garage, I shut off my house, I don my PPE, I have a UV chamber. Like,
and all your neighbors think that you're cooking meth.
Oh, they already know what's going on. I think all my neighbors have walked by the garage at some point just to be like, what's going on in here?
Math, it's easier to explain this way. Little Star Wars figures? That didn't make any sense to you, right? Okay, it's math. Yeah.
Please don't call HOA.
No.
No, it's good. Like, I really enjoy for the health drawbacks and everything.
Just be safe, yeah.
Just be safe with it. Please don't be like the people on Facebook. I see people picking up, even on YouTube, freshly printed prints, and they'll pick them up to show them off. And they're like, "Oh, don't worry, it's hard." No, that is not fully cured. Like,
oh, really? Wow.
If it has not been cured, don't touch it with your own hands, because you're gonna be the person who forgets about it. You're gonna go eat your peanut butter jelly sandwich. You're just gonna,
and suddenly you're poisoning yourself.
Exactly.
Or whatever contact poisoning.
Like, please do research beforehand and make sure that you
know what you're doing. Read the safeties, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's good advice for anything you do.
And of course, for this application of miniatures, their resin's good for making small spindly bits.
Extremely so.
Right. However, if you're looking to make functional prints, you need parts, or when you want to replace a clip on your folding chair or something like that. Now, resin is a bit more brittle, as you said earlier. So they said for the application of minis, it's great. But if you're looking to do functional prints, did you want to leave more FDM then?
So there's two approaches that I would take to this. One is to either mix in, like, there are products to make your resin stronger. So I believe Soriatech is a company line that has, like, I think it's called Soriatech Tough. You can mix that into the vat, and that will just enhance the durability of your prints. The other thing is this is now jumping onto another little hobby tangent. You can get functionally whatever you want to print with your resin printer, but then make like a silicone mold and then actually pour in durable resin.
Casket.
So you use kind of a
cast it,
prototype.
basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that then creates a durable whatever you want it to, but that's jumping into a whole nother
it's a
level.
That's kind of an old schooly, more hobby printing thing that I'm at least a little bit more familiar with. Well, because it's pretty easy to understand. But yeah, I had a good friend of mine that used dental plaster to make like D&D layers and dungeon tiles and things like that. It was pretty intense.
Yeah, but I mentioned earlier my other friends who have these resin printers. I've mentioned before I work in watch repair. Yeah. These other friends are also in watch repair and jewelry. So they actually prototype their jewelry and other things in this, and then cast it in actual metals.
Literally professional nitpickers.
Yeah.
Basically. Attention to detail. That's what we can expect.
And I've shown them my minis, and they're like, "Oh, cool. Do you want to cast that in silver?" And I'm like, thank you. It would be awesome, but not functional for what I'm trying to do.
I want silver Iden. Silver Iden needs to be on the table.
Silver 3PO would be kind of cool.
Actually, yeah.
But anyway. So, okay, Zach. I'm going to rock on down to Best Buy.
All right.
I'm going to go buy one of those 3D printers you talked about. I'm sure they're for sale. They're just right off the shelf. And I'm going to go home, plug it in. I'm going to hit print. Is that all there is to it?
You're probably gonna damage your resin printer and have to replace the screen.
Cool. I'll go return it to Best Buy. Say this thing doesn't work.
Setting up a resin printer is a lot quicker than assembling your own FDM printer. There's a lot less parts that can break or get out of alignment, but at the same time, it is way easier to completely kill your printer. So let's say if you're printing something and there was a leak of resin, either in the film that separates the vat from the screen, and a little itty bitty piece of resin is now cured on your screen. The next time you hit print, that build plate's going to come down and shove that resin into your screen as it goes back to its level 0. And it's going to repeatedly stab itself until it breaks your screen. And on Facebook groups, people learn the hard way.
Yeah. Speaking of Facebook groups, this is, I think we kind of skipped over it, but there's a ton of resources out there. I'm sure there's lots of YouTube videos you can go watch and how to get set up and do the things and get started with 3D printing. But we've talked about file groups to get some of these 3D printed files. What do you currently use and what do you recommend?
So other than the really big names, I guess in our Star Wars Legion community of like Darkfire Designs, I'm actually drawing a blank. Skullforge Studio. Those guys have been around for a long time and they make really quality stuff. On Facebook, there is a Star Wars Legion 3D printing and conversion group. If you're interested, go ahead and hop over there because there are a whole bunch of people that are lesser known. And they run Patreons where you're spending about anywhere from $5 to $10, or they host single files on Gumroad as well to download. But then you get a whole month of miniatures, which is anywhere from like 6 to some people put out easily over 10 per month.
Yeah, you mentioned this on the last episode that you subscribe to a couple of different Patreons, and basically you get X amount of files per month. And these are pretty well professionally done.
It varies.
It varies. Okay.
It very
before
much
you start
varies.
backing somebody, you'd probably be something you're very excited about.
So like this little alligator guy miniature that you commented on earlier, where you saw the quality and you're like, that looks like it could be in the store. That is from the Artisan Guild, which is a Patreon that is, I believe, the #1 3D printing miniatures Patreon. Like,
oh, really? Okay.
Every month they release a brand new like Dungeons and Dragons theme set with mounts, heroes, variations. Like for whatever they're charging now, probably like $12 or $14 per month. You're literally getting an army. Like depending on what you play, if you're a DM, you got everything for your month right there, and they come pre-supported regularly. You know. That's
updated periodically if they need to, that kind of thing.
Yep.
What happens if you're like, hey, I just started, but last month's Goblin army looked really good? Do you get access to that, or do you have to?
So usually how it goes is when you join the Patreon, there's a welcome package that has a couple samples. For the previous month stuff, usually they'll throw that on either to My Mini Factory or any other SCL hosting site. Okay. And then it's behind a paywall. So typically, if you see something that you want on a Patreon month, dive in that month to get it for the cheaper cost. Because
I was going to say, it sounds like it'd probably be cheaper.
It is always cheaper the month of. And that's just part of the game. Like
that blows my mind that there could be subscription services for just like 3D files that you can turn around then have in your living room for whatever it is you're playing.
And they're your files to print off as you want. So if you really like, R2D2, but I have an Elegoo.
I love R2D2.
I got an Elegoo Saturn or whatever. I'm going to print a giant freaking R2D2.
Can I come watch you do that?
If only I wasn't making it all up, man.
Okay.
And of course, are there some other resources? Because I personally go on Thingiverse a lot for my terrain.
Yeah, so if we're looking for specifically Star Wars Legion resources to augment our armies or maybe give it a little bit of flair, like, I don't know, can you do like Phase 2 clone helmets?
Yep. So I would suggest head on over to Yeggi. That is YEGGI.com. So that is pretty much a modeling search engine aggregate. So it will search Thingiverse because Thingiverse query is absolutely horrid. It will search several other like Colts 3D, and it does a search for you, and then you just have to wade through what is bad and what is good.
Do they have a standard kind of system for reviews on files? Now you just kind of gotta
No, but
pull it open, take a look, or
It's a lot like Google.
Yeah.
Where you have to kind of go through all those. By the time you hit page 3, you know it's real good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like one thing to look out for, at least on Thingiverse, is you get a lot of game dumps. So that's someone who goes into like Battlefront 2, picks the files,
the model
and
files,
then
yeah.
posts them. A 3D asset in a video game is not meant for real world physics at all.
Yeah.
So you're getting
It
a lot
hasn't
of
been
cleanup.
optimized for printing or with that
Exactly.
in mind at all. Okay.
So, like-
That's good information.
Yeah, because generally
Those
in
break.
printing, both these printers, both the resin and the FDM style printers, you can print things, but remember, you can't print in midair. It has to be attached to a build plate.
Oh, so if they're just like, yeah.
If he's holding his
suspended
arm
in
out
theory.
with, pointing a gun,
Uh-huh.
you got to have some sort of support underneath that arm.
Well, would that not be the torso? Or...
No, well, if he's holding it out from his body in like a T pose.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So in that case, a lot of the software though for preparing models, and we didn't really get into slicing,
Haven't touched on the slices
Yeah,
yet.
no.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
Oh,
okay.
boy.
will help create supports of additional material that's meant to snap away.
Oh,
that,
right.
so-
So all the little like
They're-
strands and whatnot that
Yep.
you see sometimes with these. Okay, so that kind of thing.
Like when you end up printing a model, it looks like a construction grid with a whole bunch of like girders all over it. If you want to get them off easy, I suggest hot water. So like acetone or whatever you're dipping in, let that rest for a sec. Leave it in hot water for about 30 seconds, and then you pop it off, and then you can just go, rub your finger against the supports.
Oh, really? That easy,
and
huh?
it just breaks off.
What if you
It's
do it
good.
with like a hobby knife or something like that?
It is way softer.
Okay,
that
so you got to
point.
be very careful.
So
Yeah,
it-
you're risk damaging the model.
Okay, gotcha.
So if I don't do hot water, then I'll use flesh cutters.
Okay, yeah. The
Screw
flush cutters, yeah,
Yep.
the diagonal cuts.
Yep, and just go through. And that's only like if I really, really am trying to make a model look really nice. Otherwise, no. If I got 40 dudes, hot water.
Yeah, you gotta rub it off. Dan, you mentioned that you'd risk damaging the models. How is the final durability for like tabletop use?
If you don't add any like strengthener, I would say it's
Like a
fine.
hardening agent?
I would say it's fine for
it-
normal use.
It's equivalent to the off the shelf production models.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
So they're not meant to be handled by 3-year-olds.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's not toddler proof. Don't
No.
chuck it against the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
all my models get hit by monster trucks on the regular.
On the regular.
So
because
if
you got them
notice,
chitlins.
yeah, like broken piece there, like things just need to get re-glued here and there. But that's also why I like to 3D print them, because the cost is not, I'm not paying $40 for the Games Miniature or Games Workshop single hero miniature. I'm paying under a quarter.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Not that we're recommending you do your entire army with this, but for some specialty pieces or some
If you
little
really,
bits of stuff.
if you want to customize.
Alrighty, so on to the topic of slicers, which
Yeah. What's that all about?
it's not something that slices you up or anything. It actually converts.
What about potatoes? Can we do?
We could
Julian,
print.
slices it, dices it, Julian. A waffle fry.
Okay, so you talk about you have the plate. It builds up layers. It cures it. What's the slicing part?
So the slicing part is going from a regular 3D asset on your computer and giving it instructions to your 3D printer in a format that it will actually understand.
Oh, okay, so this is instead of just having the 3D model like we said from the video games, this is a prepared, like this is going to print. So this is what you use.
Right.
So it's not a physical slice?
It is not a physical slice. It is digitally slicing layer by layer to give instructions.
Slicing like Han Solo getting into the bunker slicing?
thousands times more.
Oh, okay. All right, wow.
So 3D printers don't, I know, ironic to the name, don't actually think in 3D. They think in 2D layers. Because they build up the model one layer at a time.
I gotcha.
So a slicer is a piece of software, a program that converts the 3D model into individual layers that the 3D printer can then interpret and take instructions on how to build.
So to help me visualize this, it's like the scene in Resident Evil with the
Yes.
tunnel with the
Yes.
lasers coming, but they don't have the vertical ones.
It's
Yes.
not
Okay.
not the grid one
No,
yet.
not the grid.
It's still at level
regular.
2.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
So
So it prepares the layers like that, and it just basically treats them almost individually, and then like, okay, we're done with this layer. Oh, what's the next file? And then it goes and does that.
Pretty much at a very rapid pace. So all that you have to do as a user is open up your 3D model. I would suggest using Pressure Slicer because it's free and it does this really well for resin stuff. But you tell it to auto orient. So on your model, it's not gonna print as a model should. It's going to kind of angle it off, typically at like 45 degrees, and that helps.
Kind of keep the height down, maybe, so it does less overall layers.
It has to do with supports and
Okay.
kind of on the physics side of things, because one thing resin printers aren't very good at is printing like a flat object, like a base. Your FDM printer is way better at that, and it's way
interesting.
less of a headache. So if you guys look at that
Yeah,
base, it's
yeah, I
warped
see.
because
It is a little bit, yeah.
when it's trying to pull off all that at once, physics is coming in.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Interesting.
messing with that.
Well,
But,
yeah, we'll definitely talk about that when we get
yeah.
into next week's section.
additionally, another reason to print at that angle is, of course, most people view their minis from the front of the mini when they want to do their beauty shots. And when you show to someone, you don't look at the back side of the mini, you look at the front side of the mini. So where the supports attach on the back, so it's laying at a 45-degree angle on its back,
Interesting.
any of the little nubbins or indentations or
Ugly
bits
butt.
left over of
Yeah,
the
Pretty
supports
front.
will be connected to the back of the model, so where it's less visible.
Interesting. And you said that there was a party, so it's a third-party software. It's not like there's a proprietary software that comes with these printers.
Photon as a company does proprietary stuff, and they have their own proprietary Photon format for
Okay.
everyone else. Pressure Slicer, honestly, they're one of the best in the industries, and you can use their slicing software for free.
Wow.
And I use that to get everything except for the final file type, which then I had to use another free software called Box, and that
Wow.
exports it to the printer. So at the first time, it does take a little bit of know-how getting everything good to go.
So
but-
you have one piece of software that basically preps the file, and then another piece of software that takes that file and then converts it over to your printer.
Correct.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And was it the first slicer software can do that, but just this one's really good at doing this and this one's really good at doing that. So I separate my workflow like that.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to.
You don't have to. You can tell. So Box is typically the free one. If you buy a Chinese clone printer, it's gonna come on the USB, and you can go ahead and plug that baby in and slice whatever you want. Like you literally say slice, and it does its thing, and then it says save, and you
Okay.
just save it to your USB, and you're good to go.
Okay. Dang. So any kind of final wrap-up thoughts on that?
Despite all the fun stuff that you can print with resin printers and everything, I really think the best use case, at least for people like me who like to play miniatures games, is not to replace the whole model.
If you're listening to this podcast, you probably
hopefully,
hopefully like
yeah,
to
hopefully.
play miniature games.
But not to like replace your whole army, because that doesn't support the game that you love, but
Fair,
to just
yeah.
augment what you have. Like we've all seen the Pina Colada Shore Trooper.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
that-
Relaxing
that's
on the
the
beach.
best one.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yes.
boombox stormtrooper. You know, it's a lot of fun, but it's not. It should not be seen as a replacement of disrupting the entire
Honestly,
game.
yeah, for sure. And I think there's some pretty strong tournament rules against that for most places. But yeah, no, that's fair to say.
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, buying the original minis, supporting the people who make this game, I mean, gives us this game.
Yeah,
so,
I guess. Well, guess what? If you don't
we're
buy
not-
the minis, then yeah, it'll be interesting to see as printers continue to develop and the files become much in higher fidelity. You know, I mean, it's like I said, there are some that I would have been fine paying money for that in a shop, you know, kind of thing. So it's getting there, but it's an interesting time to be here.
We in the future. It's great.
Yeah, all you future people.
Not quite a replicator yet, but
Yeah.
almost.
But stay tuned. Next episode, we'll be talking about the other side, and that's going to be the extruding. What FDM is that the
FDM's
term?
in, but
Yeah,
basically
okay.
the plastic extruding printers, yeah.
And we'll talk more about that. But any final notes there, guys? Good.
if you have any questions or if you want to know, don't be afraid to hit me up on social media, either through the Outriders Facebook page
Or the Discord.
or Discord.
Yeah, we do have the Patreon Discord, and you do spend time in the Legion Discord as well under
Yes,
Q.
It
With the whole bunch.
Q.
But other than that,
Yeah, if anyone has any questions about 3D printing in general, or questions you'd like us to see us to answer on the next episode, definitely leave a post, leave
definitely.
a question.
Yeah, if you have any specific question, that'd be a great way to wrap it up with a little Q&A. But yeah, hit it up on the Facebook, and hopefully we'll see you again here real soon, Outriders. Have a great week.
This concludes the current episode of the Legion Outriders podcast. You may cultivate a tactical advantage by observing the Outriders on Facebook or Twitter at Legion Outriders. Wisdom advocates subscribing to the podcast. Acting otherwise is reckless.